This is your number one source for all things comics, movies, and pop culture. It's Geek Week with Chris and Nick.
You're tuned in to Geek Week.
I'm Chris Natali.
And I'm Nick Rotundo.
This is our first show for Geek Week, so to all those listening, thank you for being a part of this.
And before we dive into this week's topics, since it's the first episode, we decided to start off by telling a little bit about ourselves, who we are, where we're from, and just what we like.
I'm Chris, so I'm from Parlin, New Jersey. I'm a big fan of Batman and Colossus from the X-Men.
And I'm Nick Rotundo. I'm from Manalapan, New Jersey, actually right by Chris. So we like to hang out during the summer and during breaks. We go to Red Bank all the time. Shout out to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. Kevin Smith is probably one of the reasons why we're here today doing this because, I mean, Fat Man on Batman is a great podcast, and it's great stuff coming out of there. So I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I've grew up reading Spider-Man and just fell in love with the character. I'm both Marvel and DC. I mean, I know you're more DC, but for me, DC-wise, Batman and Nightwing. That's really, I mean, that's the big thing for me.
It's funny because when I was first into comics, I was really heavy on DC, but I've discovered as I'm getting more into them over the years that I'm kind of a fan of like everything, like independent comics, like Saga and things like that, and especially like Marvel. I read like plenty of X-Men and Batman as well for DC, like, and plenty of their Rebirth titles too that are actually doing pretty well today.
I actually did pick up that Nightwing Rebirth #1 because I was so excited that he's actually finally back as Nightwing and no longer Agent Grayson. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, I mean, this is our first show. Our first topic this week is going to be this year's movies. So from movies from pretty much this summer. Actually, we're starting off back when we were still in school last year in May, April, somewhere around May, yeah. I think. Captain America Civil War is the first movie we're going to talk about. But because we're talking about this year's movies, there will be spoilers, just a fair warning to people who haven't seen the movie. So if you're going to listen to this after hours, after we play this on SoundCloud or anything, feel free to skip if you don't want to hear any spoilers. But, I mean, if you're listening live, you're going to hear everything. So first up, Captain America Civil War. What are your thoughts, man?
Oh, man. I don't even know how to get into this one. I read Civil War with my girlfriend before going into this movie, and that was definitely the wrong play because this was nothing like the book, which kind of like, it kind of hurt because like I really liked Mark Millar's storyline. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the first comics I picked up when I was a kid. And I was going in thinking, oh, okay, maybe this might be good, maybe it might not be. I kind of had semi-high expectations for it, but at the same time, not really. And I got to say, I enjoyed Black Panther's part in the movie. I enjoyed Spider-Man's part in the movie. The action was amazing, but the fact that they didn't talk about the Sokovia Accords, which is their form of the Registration Act for superheroes, they only talked about it for a little bit. It wasn't even that big part of the movie, and the villain was kind of a waste. Like Baron Zemo, he was kind of just like thrown to the side. And
I agree on that. I mean, I would have loved to see his purple mask, but I mean, let's be real here. Look at Hawkeye. Are we really going to get the big pointy H mask that he wears in the comics?
Probably.
So yeah, exactly. So I mean, I get he didn't wear the mask because of that. However, I mean, I was going into it same as you, thinking that, I mean, this could be good, this could be bad, this could be way into the comics like it was, but trailer-wise, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I don't think it's going to be the exact same. They definitely don't have as many characters as they did in the series for the comic version of Civil War, but, I mean, you know me, I'm on the hype train. I was like, woo, Tom Holland as Spider-Man, so down, yes, just yes, everything. Just take my money. But
he was a great Spider-Man.
I agree completely on that. We're definitely going to get back to that in a little bit because that's going to be in our next topic. However, but did I enjoy it? Yes. I thought Tom Holland and Chadwick Boseman, the guy who played Black Panther, both of them stole the show completely. And recently, that whole little thing with Thor that they released on online about what he was doing during Civil War. I thought that was hilarious. Funny. That was hilarious.
It was so funny.
And I mean, as he put it, it was a little petty squabble between Captain America and Iron Man. It was like, really, guys, come on. Like, okay, I get the Sokovia Accords, but you barely even talk about it. So it really is like a petty argument.
They made Captain America look so bad too. They made him look like he was putting one person over dozens, thousands of people, and it's like not something Captain America would do because he's Captain America. He's like the one for all, like not just like putting those things, putting people aside, like. And he just like, oh, I love Bucky so much, I got to protect Bucky. No, dude, you protect America. You protect everyone. Like you should be like against this, and you should like, and they're making you look so bad in this movie. Like, I don't know.
Now, see what I do like though with what the Russo brothers are doing, the directors of Captain America: Civil War, Captain America: Winter Soldier, and they didn't do First Avenger, did they?
No, they started Winter Soldier. They started Winter Soldier. That was actually one of my favorite Marvel movies, and like it's crazy because like I look at that movie and I'm like, wow, this movie is awesome.
Oh yeah,
because like it was the Winter Soldier. You knew it was about Bucky. You knew it was about him, and I loved that movie. It was so dark. It was like one of the darker Marvel movies that I've seen, and I was like, that was on my top list of Marvel movies, and I was like, wow, this is great. And then I look at Civil War and I'm like, what happened? A lot of people love it though. So,
yeah, I enjoyed it.
Everybody can have their own opinion, but yeah.
Okay, there's two things that I want to talk about. One, Russo brothers, the reason I enjoyed what they're doing with their Captain America is the fact that they actually said they hated him when they were kids. They came out and they said, we read him, read his comics when we were kids, and we thought he was like such a Boy Scout to the point where we were like, he's such a weenie. Like, come on now, toss him aside. I'm gonna go read like Spider-Man and Wolverine and all these different characters who just go out there and just battle it. And so, I mean, they thought he was horrible. So they came out and they did Winter Soldier, and they showed the whole mixed martial arts thing, especially when he fought Batroc the Leaper. That was awesome. But they tried to make it more of like, okay, let's take what we don't like about him and make it better, and show like a modernized Captain America, which I enjoyed. So that I think was tried to transition into Civil War. However, I don't think they got it dead on like they did in Winter Soldier. And then the second thing was they said they tried over hundreds of like designs for the Spider-Man suit. Let's be real here. As much as a lot of people gave Amazing Spider-Man 2 flack, I love that suit. That is straight out of the comics. That the big eyes. You know me. I'm a big Todd McFarlane Spider-Man fan. I love the John Romita Jr. Spider-Man. I mean, those are smaller eyes, but I love those big eyes on Spider-Man. And they went from like that to the little scene, the reference to John Romita Sr. with the mechanicalized eyes, which was cool. However, I mean, they gave reference to the classic suit with the red and blue and everything, little upgrades here or there. But, I mean, this is Civil War. I was expecting to see Iron Spider at least for 5 minutes in the battle.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Stark builds him a suit, and it's not an Iron Man suit. Come on.
Yeah, that also shocked me a little bit. I was expecting to see that too, but I felt like they were just reintroducing Spider-Man. So they're like, no, we got to go with this costume, the original costume.
Well, yeah.
So that's probably why they did that, I'm sure, because this is like a brand new Spider-Man that's a part of the Marvel like universe now.
That's true.
Cinematic universe and all that. So I feel like that's why they did it. So hopefully in the future we'll see an Iron Spider suit.
I hope so. I mean, so before they always said that Spider-Man was in talks to be in Civil War. They were going to try and get Sony to re-sign and basically send over like a contract to where he's able to be in both Sony and Marvel movies. And so that was always in talks, but just in case, God forbid, he was shut, they got shut down and they were like, no, we're keeping him. Like, no, they would have taken Black Panther and used him as the Spider-Man role, and the fact that like in the comics, Black Panther switches sides. Spider-Man switches sides. So they were going to do that with Black Panther. So Spider-Man comes in, and I'm thinking, oh, Iron Spider suit. He realizes Tony's doing what is wrong, and then switches and goes back to the red and blue. But I mean, hey, I'll take what I can get. I love Tom Holland. I'm excited to see Spider-Man: Homecoming.
It looks good.
I mean, just.
I feel like the reason they couldn't do all this stuff with the Civil War is because it was all in one movie, so it's hard to cram that into like a 2-hour thing.
Oh yeah,
like
especially because if they tried to cram more, it'd be like the next movie we're about to talk about, which is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Let's transition over to that. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ultimate Edition, amazing. I saw that at my buddy's house. He bought it on DVD, and honestly, 30 minutes really do make the difference between like the theatrical version and the Ultimate Edition. So for anybody who has seen the movie and didn't like it, or hasn't seen the movie yet, I suggest don't even watch the theatrical version anymore. Just watch Ultimate, because it's honestly like when we watched the Watchmen Ultimate Edition in your dorm a couple years back. I fell in love with that movie all over again.
Watchmen's a great movie. Batman v Superman, I gotta say, when I first saw it, I loved it. I mean, everybody else hated it. It was so funny because I felt like I walked in with my girlfriend and my other friend, and we sat there till the end, and we were like, wow, this is great. Like, this is better than, like, I feel like most Marvel movies I've seen. And people are gonna give me some stuff for that, but like I think for me, like, it's not just trying to be a biased Batman fan or anything, because that wasn't it. I just felt like Scott Snyder. Wow, talking about the Batman writer. I felt like Zack Snyder was trying to just kind of put different pieces of comics into it, and I could pick out the panels throughout the movie from what comics they were from, and I was like, you know what, I could appreciate this because like he really tried, and he felt bad about all the critics that what they were saying about it. I want to watch the Ultimate Edition. I actually can't wait. I've been waiting for a while to watch it, and I'm looking forward to it. I've heard good things about it, so that's something. I'm sure 30 minutes can make the difference, because even like with Watchmen, I was like, wow, like the movie was great from the theatrical product, and then you watch the Ultimate cut and you're just like, geez, like this is
so much better.
Yeah,
it's way more into the comics than it actually is, than the theatrical version was. Mm-hmm. And so my problem with Dawn of Justice, Batman v Superman, the whole thing that was like, okay, we're finally building a cinematic universe, which they decided to call the DCEU Extended Universe. So before we get into the casting for the rest of the Justice League, let's focus on this. The fact that they tried to cram so much into this movie, because they were just like, whoa, Marvel is kicking the crud out of us with all their movies built up, and they decided to, okay, we're going to do Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. We'll introduce the Trinity, and then, oh yeah, Lex Luthor is going to somehow have like video footage of everyone else that's a metahuman. And yeah, Justice League, boom. I'm like, no, what are you doing? And then, oh yeah, by the way, Doomsday is going to be in this. Really?
Well, that one, I feel like that one trailer that they released back then, before the movie was released, that long 3-minute trailer, that really ruined the movie for a lot of people. They're like, oh, we already know what we're going into.
See,
so that
that's the
started
thing,
the
though.
bad rep.
Comic book fans, yes, they see Doomsday and they're like, all right, we're going to see Superman die. Because Doomsday is only introduced once in Superman Doomsday, the death of Superman. And then later on, he does come back, obviously. But Superman and Doomsday, they didn't even kill him off the right way in the like they do in the comics. In the comics, they pummel each other to death. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't, okay, Doomsday stabs him in the chest while Superman stabs him with the kryptonite spear that Batman made.
Which is awesome.
Yes, without a doubt. Also, I mean, that we've talked about this plenty of times. Free Comic Book Day, when I met Tom Derenick. We met Tom Derenick, and we got pictures drawn by him. I had a blank cover issue of DK3 issue 1, and I had him draw Batfleck in the armored suit, which was awesome. And I should have asked him to draw the kryptonite spear in his hand, but I completely forgot about that. However, I mean, so back to Doomsday though. I mean, normal moviegoers would have just been like, whoa, who's this person? Okay, they said Doomsday, I'm interested. And then all of a sudden they would have been like, boom, Superman's dead. I'm like, what? Why? Honestly, if I was part of the writing team or anything like that, I would have cut out Doomsday. I would have had it where Lex Luthor did something where Batman and Superman had to fight each other because something happened where they think one or the other is evil. And then it comes together where they team up with Wonder Woman. They find out that Lex is bad, and he's in his suit, his like kryptonite suit or whatever, the big mechanical suit that Lex wears, and they battle him. And that would have been awesome. But
I mean, see, I don't know. I feel like what the movie really did right was Batfleck, because I thought he was great. Bruce Wayne and Batman. I like the guy that played Alfred. I don't know if they should give Lex this like suit, because this is like Lex's son we're talking about. This is who I feel like people overlook or not really notice that this is Lex's son. This is not Lex Luthor, like the Lex Luthor. Like and you notice that because in the movie he says it, and then you look at this Lex Luthor. I looked at him as a completely different Lex. I was like, all right, I'm throwing out my Justice League Unlimited Justice League cartoon series Lex Luthor.
What's his name? Kevin Spacey. I loved his Lex Luthor, even though Superman Returns was probably the epitome of horrible of Superman movies. He saved it with his performance, I think. Not saved.
He was a good Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Also, if anybody, just another Lex Luthor fact, if you have ever had the interest in watching Smallville, Michael Rosenbaum is one of the best Lex Luthors I've ever seen. So if you ever have a chance to watch that, or even get the seasons or whatever, he is great. Personally, like Jesse Eisenberg, I think was a different type of Lex Luthor. He was crazy. He was maniacal. He's really maniacal. I think that he kind of instilled fear in Superman because like he took away his mom, and then was like, now God bends to my will. I got goosebumps in that part because I was like,
oh yeah, and I remember
just put the dude on his knees and he could easily kill you. Like he could lobotomize you if he wanted to, but he can't because you have his mom hostage. Like, what are you gonna do now?
Yeah, I mean, like so when I saw that, I was like, whoa, like that is whole, like we talked about this from the day they announced Jesse Eisenberg was Lex Luthor, and I came to you and you just looked at me, and before I could even say Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor, what do you think? You just looked at me and you were like, no. You were so upset.
I really didn't have faith in him at all.
Mostly because of the fact of this Social Network, I think.
It's just like you look at this actor. He's from Adventureland. He's from the Social Network, and then you think of him as
Zombieland too, I believe, right?
Zombieland, I think maybe.
Was that no? I always get him and Michael Cera confused.
It's okay.
I don't know why. I mean, they have the same personality, maybe, but I think he was in Zombieland, if I do remember correctly.
But yeah, but seeing them in those movies and then looking at him as Lex Luthor and trying to imagine him, it's very hard.
I know. Especially as like Mark Zuckerberg, I was like, okay, he's going to be like a internet billionaire or something as Lex Luthor. Maybe that could work, but I mean, like especially at the end where he's like, if you wanted to create the Facebook, you would have made it. And I was like, okay, I can see that. Especially so, everyone hated Batfleck too. Everyone, the moment he got cast, they were like, petitions. "Oh my God, no! Oh, he was Daredevil. He was horrible." But I had faith in him from day one, and the reason because of that is one, Kevin Smith is best friends with him, and but he's a Batman fan to the point where his mansion, way before he was even cast as Batman, his mansion, his panic room, is a Batcave. I mean, the guy was put in Jersey Girl, Kevin Smith's movie, and he looks at like his daughter in the movie and says, "You ran in the Batmobile, babe," and it's a street sweeper. I'm like, that's just awesome. And the fact that like he did that movie with Justin Timberlake, I always forget the name of this. It's they like are off the U.S. They like move out and like there's something with gambling or whatever. Or, like they're cheating the system. And he says, if if your boss tells you to go out there, take a beating, come back, you go out there, you take that beating, you come back here, you tell me, do you need me to do it again? I was like, that's Batman. Oh my God, that's Batman. So, I mean, from there, I was sold. But, I mean, I did have faint, maybe remorse. I was like, oh no, could this be bad? Look at Daredevil. But, I mean, we've talked about this. Daredevil was the writers. It was the writers more than anything. And
it was also in 2003. And this True. Is like years later. Like, people are still complaining about that from...
He's matured over that.
Like 13 years. Get over it. I know Daredevil was like pretty terrible, but like just the actors had so much time to make up for that. Ben Affleck's had so much time to direct, act, and star in his own movies, and like he's been doing pretty well. I saw a movie, I think Argo.
Yes,
that was great.
He directed that
exactly, and that was, and I was like, I had faith in him. Like when I heard about him being Batman, I was like, okay, I wonder how this is gonna go. I didn't say shoot it down and like sign a petition that he was gonna just get off the movie.
Yeah, like okay, so, a lot of people have been talking because of this now. Because I mean, so let's be real here. He was only in half of a movie really because it's Batman v Superman. So You can't really base a lot off of that. Same with like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. You can't base a lot. He was only in there for like 10, 15 minutes. So, but I do like where they're going with it. So a lot of people are saying he beat out Christian Bale. Obviously, he beat out George Clooney. He beat out Val Kilmer. Is he up there with Michael Keaton?
I think that. Okay, well, I think George Clooney was garbage. And
Oh my God.
That's not his
fault. He apologizes for that all the time when he goes to Comic-Con.
That's the director's fault, and the director already apologized for it years ago. Val Kilmer, I didn't really see as Batman. Christian Bale, I liked him as Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, he sounded like Batman. He sounded just like Batman had laryngitis and just like had this like really,
where's the trigger?
Like it just sounded. The voice sounded so fake, and I'm like, people laughed at it. People laughed at him. People laughed at Tom Hardy's Bane voice. People.
Oh, I know.
And I see like Michael Keaton was my favorite Batman up until Batfleck came out, and then I was like, Batfleck might be getting up there with Michael Keaton for me. I think he might he might even be better depending on like the next movie I see. Like I can't wait for the solo Batman movie that comes out.
Please,
because I would love to see more of Batfleck. But yeah,
I mean the guy is taking Batman solo film. He's writing it himself. He's directing it. And he's starring in it. And he's saying, I'm not releasing a date or filming anything until I know this script is perfect. And I'm like, I applaud you, sir. Like yes, please. You are a true fan. Like you and I have talked about like when I've written like fan films here or there, just when I'm bored, I write screenplays. So how many times have I come to you and said, oh yeah, by the way, I changed it again. Like it just doesn't like stop, because you always find something that you're like, oh, I want to include this in there because that's cool, or oh, this doesn't work, I got to take this out. So I love that. Like honestly,
it takes time to make a good movie, and Ben Affleck is a huge fan of Batman, and he wants a Batcave in his house. I'm pretty sure he said that over Twitter or something, and he cares about him. And as long as you care about the character and you do justice to the character, no pun intended, but as long as you do that, like that's fans are gonna love you for it. I
mean, Kevin Smith came out when I forget what it was. I want to say it was like an interview with like Zack Snyder and like I think, oh God, why am I blanking on who Lois Lane is played by? Amy Adams. The three of them were sitting on some couch and they were getting interviewed for something, and he's and Kevin Smith just like is gleaming from ear to ear, and they're like, oh, you have something to say. And he's like, I saw the bat suit way before anything was released, and he goes, it's nothing like you've ever seen before, and I cried when I saw Ben wear it. And he actually said Ben invited me over to his house once and I saw his bat cave, and I was like, oh, just tears of joy. But yeah, I mean, now getting into the extended universe for DC, how do you feel about the fact that they're taking like all these Justice League members? They have great shows. Stephen Amell, Grant Gustin, even Supergirl. I don't know who she's played by, and I feel so horrible for saying that. But these people are amazing at what they do. They're like dead on to the character. And then Zack Snyder comes out and is like, I don't want to take that. I don't want to put that into my universe. Like, I get he's going for dark. That's who Zack Snyder is. But you got to have some sort of humor. He put that into the Justice League trailer. I have to admit, there was some humor in there. I enjoyed it. And by the way, also, the White Stripes song, Icky Thump, awesome. But I mean, I love Grant Gustin as Arrow. I mean, as Flash. I love him as Flash. I watch that show like constantly, and I just can't get enough of it. And don't get me wrong, I was a little upset when they signed Ezra Miller as the Flash, but you know what? I saw him in Batman v Superman. I saw him in Suicide Squad, which is the next movie we're going to talk about. And from the little parts he had, I can see he's got the humor. I can see he's got the Barry-isms. I just don't know how they're going to take his backstory, because he's living alone in some shed away from Star Labs, unless that was Star Labs and it's run down. I don't know. But, I mean, I don't know where to take it from there. Suicide Squad, your thoughts? I guess. I mean,
well, here, first of all, I'm going to comment on your TV shows real quick. I really enjoy The Flash. I will say that. I like Grant Gustin. I've loved it since the first season. Second season was great. and I can't wait to see the next one because
I can't wait.
They're doing Flashpoint.
And
but
Savitar.
I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole other can of worms. But I will say Arrow was good for the first 2 seasons, and I know some people will disagree with me, but after the first 2 seasons, it started to go really downhill with the writing. I don't know. This first season was the foundation. The second season was really strong with Deathstroke and like the Black Canary introduced and all that.
Oh, of course.
And then
I mean, it's become a love story, honestly. That's all it really has.
I don't know. I watched Arrow the whole 4th season. Didn't care for it, and I'm hoping that the 5th season will bring it back to where it was.
They're saying it will, but I don't know. I mean, I stopped watching after season 1. I told you this. I want to get back into it, but it's like really like I have so much more on my plate. I'm more dedicated to the Flash. Supergirl all of a sudden is now coming to the CW, and they're doing a musical episode featuring the Flash.
That's because Grant Gustin was on Glee. For those of you who don't know that. And so was the girl who plays Supergirl.
Oh, she was on Glee too.
Yeah, so that's why they're doing a musical, because that is awesome. It kind of makes sense. Supergirl, I heard, didn't do well on the network it was on, which is why it got brought back to CW.
The only episode I saw was when Grant Gustin showed up on it.
I watched the first episode of Supergirl, and I wasn't on board with it. I'm sure maybe I should give it another chance and just watch through the first season, because I heard Flash races Supergirl, and I thought that was cool because it was like a nod to Flash racing Superman in the comics. I was like, cool. And also Flash racing Superman in the cartoons that I watched when I was a kid. I was like, all right, awesome. But anyway, let's get into Suicide Squad. Yeah,
of course.
I want to do that. I when I walked in, I was okay for the.
So before we get into this, let's just say, look, this is the newest movie we're going to be talking about that is already out. So definitely, if you haven't seen it, this is where spoilers are really going to start. So, okay, what did you think?
So when I walked in, these were my thoughts previously before watching it. I was looking forward to Jared Leto as the Joker. I wasn't sure how I was going to like Deadshot, like Will Smith as Deadshot. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, because just hearing her voice in the trailers, I didn't really feel like she was Harley Quinn. But those are my only things and like as soon as I saw the movie, Jared Leto blew me away.
Oh yeah,
he was creepy.
Oh yeah,
he was like the mob boss Joker. The scenes that he was in, and people got mad over this. So he's only in 5 minutes of the movie or so.
I thought it was 10, but yeah,
it was. It's 5 or 10 minutes of the movie. People got really mad for false advertising. There was a suit that went on from Canada.
He came out and said that there's so much footage that they cut out that they can make a Joker movie with it. I'm like, come on.
So they're going to give it probably in the ultimate cut of Suicide Squad. So people should just wait for that. I thought it was great how many times they incorporated him, because it's not called Suicide Squad and the Joker, the movie.
Right.
It's called Suicide Squad, which he's not a part of. He's a variable that they threw in, and I think they did it well. I actually enjoyed Will Smith's take on Deadshot, because it was different. It was very different than what the comics are, which is fine with me. Some of the stuff played into the comics. Like you kind of saw a little bit of Will Smith caring about Harley Quinn, just a wee bit, and you're like, okay, that's a nod to that. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn and Jared Leto's a Joker. They have chemistry. I was really impressed with their romance. I was impressed that they humanized the Joker, because I was like, wow, it's like he's showing compassion for this girl. He threw her, he pushed her in the acid.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
And then he's like, he thought about it. He's like, this is probably a bad idea, and I should probably go get her. Takes off his coat and then just drops into the acid. And then like every time that dude laughed, I was like, really, I got goosebumps.
That's also a thing I wanted to mention. He came out and said, I walked the streets of New York City and just laughed at people. I'm like, that's creepy.
He practiced different laughs to see how people would react, and he found the creepiest laughs that made people feel the most uncomfortable. See, he got into the character.
That's why I love method actors. That exact role, what Jared Leto did. That is why I love method actors.
I can't wait to see him just on screen with Batfleck. Like I just want to see their chemistry, because I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna really just
the movie theater by us is like $20 to get a seat.
Yeah,
dude, I will pay $30 to see Jared Leto and Ben Affleck go at it.
They will.
That I cannot wait for that.
Apparently, why he has caps in his teeth because Batman has punched his teeth out. Which
I think that's
is
because
great.
of Jason Todd, obviously.
Well, that makes
if
sense.
you haven't read the comics, people, Joker kills Jason Todd, and actually, there's a nod to it in Suicide Squad when they show the little narration, like clips of, and like almost like business cards, I guess you would put it. Little titles for each character. It says Harley Quinn, accomplice to the murder of Robin, or it says Robin, because Zack Snyder has said that it is Jason Todd, I think, but it was never said in the movies, so I think they're waiting to say it's Jason Todd.
Also, there was a nod in his tattoos. There is a Robin on his arm with an arrow through it, and it was these, and I was like, wow, I didn't even catch that the first time.
And the Batman symbol's on his other arm with a knife through it.
I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. There's so much
And
detail into that.
people were like, "Oh my gosh, he has too many tattoos, all that." And I'm like, "All right, guys, like, listen, this is not going to be the comic book Joker. Like you got to walk into these movies with an open mind, and if you don't, you're not going to enjoy it." I feel like you're expecting a lot of comic book fans, if they're huge comic book fans and they're like those like nit grit, like, oh, it has to be exactly like the comics. You got to throw that idea just to the side for a little bit just to enjoy these movies because it's going to be different. It's gonna be
without a doubt.
the director's interpretation of these characters, and you just got to take it for what it is.
Now, see, what people don't know about the tattoos is they never showed his back in the movie. However, behind the scenes, like on set pictures, did you see his whole back is tatted? He's got the giant dragon tattoo like he does in the one comic series.
I do remember that. I do remember that series, and I didn't even know that he had the dragon tattoo. But that's awesome. At least David Ayer did a nod to that.
That's what I loved. Now, plot wise, very, very, I mean, not very, very weak, but it was kind of weak, let's be honest here. It was good for what it was, but it could have been so much better.
Well, the whole thing with that is I feel like they wanted to make this a fun movie because I feel like they saw how well Deadpool did, and they were just like, all right, we want to make, because I feel like they did a lot of reshooting. The movie could have been darker. The movie could have been like better in story. As far as like the Enchantress and things like that, and her brother, who's this like tall god-looking thing.
That was barely even mentioned. They were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, she's got a brother." Crack the thing open, someone takes over, gets possessed by him. All right, there's the brother.
Viola Davis as Amanda Waller was really good. I like how she had Enchantress's heart.
I agree.
That was pretty cool just to see that because she's controlling. Viola Davis pulled that off very well as Amanda Waller, I think. Enchantress was pretty interesting to me. Could she have been incorporated better? Because I feel like because when I looked at the movie and I think about it now, it's like you have Rick Flag taking her down to put this bomb under this, or have this bomb, or whatever the case is. Yeah. And then she goes rogue out of nowhere. And I'm like, you guys didn't prepare for that?
Yeah. Like,
just a little bit.
Put a leash on her.
And then like
a little shock collar or something.
No one, when they first landed, they saw this big bright light in the middle of the city, and no one questioned it up until the point where they're like really close to it, and they find Amanda Waller's chopper, and Deadshot looks into the book and sees all this, and now Rick Flag has to tell them. I'm like, why don't you just tell them at the beginning? But overall, that's just me being really nitpicky. I still really like the movie.
Without a doubt. See, for me, it was the plot, the villains, like that whole thing. Like the villain of the story and like how they did the plot, it was kind of weak. However, this movie was amazing to introduce new characters and like tell their backstories. Like the part where Ben Affleck shows up in the Batman suit and arrests Deadshot in front of his daughter. I was like, I'm sold here. Like so Will Smith, to me, this is probably one of the few movies where of his that I didn't say, I hate you in this, like, because almost every movie that he does, he plays himself. So like he comes out and he's like, "What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?" I'm like, okay, that is like you right there, just saying that. But the rest of the movie, like okay, you can tell that it's like Will Smith. You can like he puts his little spin on it. However, he must have really read up on this because he was so good. Oh my God! Like, take my money now. Like, I'll see a Deadshot movie.
He was. Yeah, I liked how they incorporated the daughter. That's like one of the biggest parts about Deadshot is that he does have a soft spot for his daughter, and that's pretty much it.
Oh yeah. And Harley Quinn. So you told your little thing about it. For me, Tara Strong will probably always be Harley Quinn for me.
Okay, well the animated Harley Quinns,
and
like Tara Strong,
obviously, and the Arkham games, the Arkham Knight, Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. Tara Strong basically created Harley Quinn because she was made for the animated series and then brought into the comics.
Actually, she was later brought into it, but the other woman that plays her was Eileen Sorkin.
Yes. Okay.
She was like I'm pretty sure she was the original. Tara Strong also like played Harley Quinn eventually, but Eileen Sorkin was great. Like,
yeah,
I really
love
enjoyed
both
her.
of their voices.
She hit the nail on the head with that. But like going into this, you don't want to think about those guys because if you do,
oh, I know.
It's going to ruin the movie for you. You're like, oh, it's not what I saw when I was younger.
Exactly.
Of course,
like,
it's not what you saw. This is like years ago.
That's like going into so Nicholson came before Mark Hamill, but Mark Hamill has basically taken over the role as Joker. Let's be real here. So anytime you think of the Joker, you think of Mark Hamill's voice doing the animated series or the Arkham games, or even he's not in Injustice, but the DC Universe Online game, he's in that too. So like Mark Hamill to me has always been Joker.
Well,
because we both grew up listening and watching that. However, like let's be real here, Heath Ledger was awesome.
Heath Ledger, The Dark Knight was my favorite movie because of Heath Ledger, and he was a great Joker. I also didn't think like Mark Hamill, my favorite animated Joker. Heath Ledger was my favorite Joker. Jared Leto is kind of getting up there for me because he did really well. But like I said, you never want to compare the animated to the live action because they're always going to be different.
Mark Hamill came out and said that when he auditioned for the role and came back to do the role, he had this loose leaf paper like duct taped to whether it was like the soundboard room or his dressing room, whatever it was, and it said in Sharpie, "Don't think Nicholson." And I just died at that point. I was laughing because it's true. You got to put your own spin on something. Like if you're going out and you're doing a character that's so well known or just not even known, but it's a character that people love. Like you got to do what you think is the character. Just don't go out there and be like, all right, I have to listen to this one group of people and do that just like this. Like no, you go out and
you don't want to perform the way that other people do because it's their own spin on the character.
Exactly.
But doing the research is very important. I should say. Like I would want, if any actor were to play, say, Shazam, I'd want them to read New 52 Shazam.
Oh yeah.
And like the Rock, I'd expect them to try to read up on Black Adam. Like you should be doing the research on these characters because then you'll do them right and you'll make fans happy and hopefully like throwing your own spin on it will make the character even better.
So here's a big twist for you. Green Arrow, or not Green Arrow, I should say. What's his name? Best friends with Ben Affleck. Wow, I'm blanking on this.
Matt Damon?
Yes, Matt Damon. Who would you cast him as if he had to be in the DC universe?
Matt Damon's he's getting old though.
See, for me, I would say Green Arrow.
Is that because of that China movie where they show him?
No, not just because
with, like,
of that.
The arrow on his back and stuff. And
not just because of that. I just think he could really do a hardened Green Arrow. Because there's a show, Geeking Out. It's with Kevin Smith and Greg Grunberg. Obviously Lost. He's best friends with J.J. Abrams. They're childhood friends, actually. Kevin Smith met up with Matt Damon and had him read like little lines from different that he said, if Ben asked you to be in the movie or whatever and he gave you a role, would you take it? And he said, yeah, he's my best friend. I'll take it. I would love to do that, but that's up to him. It's not up to me. So he had him read like Deathstroke, which was awesome. So awesome. But what threw me over the top where I was like, sign him right now, was when he did the line from The Dark Knight Returns. For Green Arrow, I just want a little piece of it.
Okay, if you're talking about the Dark Knight Returns Green Arrow, then okay. That's because Matt Damon's clearly older. It would make sense then. I thought you were talking about the younger Green Arrow, like
Stephen Amell,
like that kind of Green Arrow.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, I would say that Matt Damon could play. It would be interesting to see him play the Dark Knight Returns Green Arrow because like that. Also, that's one of my favorite storylines. I'm wearing a shirt right now. That's like a Deadpool twist on the Dark Knight Returns cover, and it says The Dark Merc returns, and it's like if I'm not clear if that's to say I'm a fan, I don't know what does. But again, I haven't seen this video that you're talking about, but I will definitely look at it. It'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, but so Harley Quinn wise though, Margot Robbie, I saw Wolf of Wall Street and I was like, okay, Brooklyn accent and just the way she acts about things, like I think she could do it. So that's what I took for the role. So we'll be right back with some news for some upcoming movies on what's going on with Marvel, DC, any rumors or just casting rumors or leaked things, stuff like that. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. All right. So since we're back, let's get into our next topic. It is upcoming movies and news about them, or not spoilers, just little, rumors, stuff like that. So first one up, the next movie for comic-wise coming out is Doctor Strange. Thoughts, expectations?
I've never read a Doctor Strange comic before. I've seen him in a couple. I think his character's interesting. I have seen the animated movie. Obviously not comparing that, but like they did take a scene in the trailer from the animated movie, which was awesome, which was him crashing his car and then being in the hospital. I believe in Benedict Cumberbatch. I feel like he's going to do an awesome job.
I agree on that.
That's pretty much all I have going into it. I don't want to make any other judgments because I really can't, because I don't know the character that well.
Have you talked to Sam's dad about it at all, or because I know he's a big Doctor Strange.
He likes
fan.
more of the older comics. But
okay,
yeah, I haven't really talked to him that much about it. But I want to get into the Doctor Strange comics by Jason Aaron because they were the newest comics released.
Okay.
Apparently, Jason Aaron's doing really well. He's also wrote for the X-Men, which I really enjoy his X-Men. Like he does a great job writing in general. He's also written a few other titles that I enjoyed. But I will say that I really like this Doctor Strange trailer. I like at the end of the trailer where it shows him with the cape. I got goosebumps when I saw that. I was like, he's becoming the Doctor. Like I've seen pictures of him using his mystic powers. Like I thought the effects were pretty cool. And it's going to be an interesting movie. Some people are already saying, oh, it's a bore fest. But I'm like, how can you say that without actually seeing the movie? You're seeing a 2-minute trailer.
Yeah. I mean, for me, again, like you, I haven't read any Doctor Strange comics. I wasn't a big fan. I know some of my friends are actually. One of them's a big Deadpool and Doctor Strange fan, so he loves that stuff. I'm sure he's very excited for this. I'm excited for this just because of the fact that it's finally tying together like other dimensions and stuff for the MCU. I mean, his thing that holds his cape together holds one of the, I think it's the last, I don't know if it's the last Infinity Stone or if it's like the second to last, but there's 5 Infinity Stones, and that's one of them. So I'm excited to see how this is going to play out, and obviously how he interacts with other Marvel characters that are going to be introduced, or he's going to meet along the lines down the line, I should say. However, I do have one comic that has Doctor Strange in it. It's a Spider-Man comic from like the early 2000s. Of course, it's a Spider-Man comic. Let's be real here. Yeah, I know. But it's about like he goes to Doctor Strange for like some help or whatever to get some bad guy who's taking kids and capturing them and bringing them into some negative zone. I don't know if it's the negative zone or it's a different like dimension where everything's like transparent. And Doctor Strange like goes out to go run an errand or whatever, but hits Spider-Man with some like glove blast or whatever and tells him, clear your mind and wait, and you will be taken out of your body and brought somewhere. And I think it's like the aerial plane or something like that. And he sees like MJ while he's out of his body and stuff. But I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Like I want to see some like mystic stuff like that. So I'm excited for that. So next up, Wonder Woman. We've seen the trailer. We've seen her in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Gal Gadot has my vote as Wonder Woman. What do you think?
I really like Gal Gadot on Batman v Superman. I thought she was awesome.
Oh yeah.
I love how what's going on with her and Bruce, because it also hits home for me because they did that in the cartoons and everything like that before they even got Wonder Woman with Superman in the new comics.
I know. There's that whole like love triangle. He's always been Lois Lane for me. So
like I would just prefer that like him stay with Lois Lane, Wonder Woman do her own thing,
and then Batman go to Catwoman.
Well, I mean, obviously that's Batman can do, like Batman could be with Wonder Woman if he wanted to.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't, just because he doesn't have superpowers doesn't mean he can't be with a superpowered woman.
Oh no, I know that. I've always liked the romance between him and Catwoman. Not as much Talia because I mean, let's be real here, she used him.
Let's not talk about Talia.
Yeah, let's not talk about
Let's
that.
not talk about Talia.
Especially the Dark Knight Rises Talia. Let's not talk about that. But so yeah, I've got my votes of 2 thumbs up for Wonder Woman.
Her trailer was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. The one that was released before Suicide, like in the Suicide Squad like movie, the previews. Wow, like I was really impressed, and she looks awesome. Her costume looks great.
So is this going to be all World War II, or is it going to be also present time?
I think they're going with the World War II thing.
Because I thought it was going to be both. And what would be really cool is if it's like some sort of like PTSD type thing, where like she's remembering World War II and like she remembers the guy that she fell in love with. Chris Pine is playing the character, and that would be really cool for me to like. For me at least, I would love to see that kind of thing where it's like back and forth type thing. Mm-hmm. But I want to see where it goes from there. I'm excited for it. Same with Justice League, which we're not really going to talk about right now because that's not on our list of things to talk about. But quickly, because it is the last DC movie that we're going to be talking about for upcoming movies, because they released the Wonder Woman trailer and the Justice League trailer. Recently, Ben Affleck just posted on Twitter and Instagram a video of Deathstroke saying that he's going to either be in Justice League or the Batman solo film or both or whatever. Sold. And the guy who's in, I'm ashamed to know he's in this movie, Magic Mike XL, the guy with the beard, really long hair, or like curly hair, whatever, Joe something. He's married to Sofia Vergara or whatever. I think he could do a really good job as Deathstroke, so I'm excited for that.
That's really cool. I really like the footage that Ben Affleck showed. Deathstroke's costume was awesome. Reminds me of the Arkham games when they introduced Deathstroke into Arkham Origins and stuff like that. But we should get into Thor Ragnarok real quick.
Oh, of course. Apparently Doctor Strange ties. There's pictures of him on set holding a little note with Doctor Strange's address. Awesome.
They also talked about Hulk being in it and like a Planet Hulk thing going on.
Oh, I'm sold on that. Because so the whole thing with Universal Studios and how they can't make another Hulk movie or do Planet Hulk. So the fact that they're just like found a loophole, gonna put Planet Hulk in. I'm so excited for that. And of course, the last time we saw Hulk and Thor was Ultron, I believe, right? So the fact that we're gonna see what he's gone through now since that. Without Civil War, he wasn't in that, so I'm really excited to see that, how now he's been on the hunt to learn about the Infinity Stones and all that different stuff. So I think that's awesome. And then obviously, finally, the last movie we're going to talk about, Spider-Man: Homecoming. The casting was supposedly leaked. We have a guy who's who's a UFC fighter. They named him Shocker. I don't know. I'm so horrible with names today. I'm blanking on who it is, but he's going to be Shocker, supposedly. I'm all for that. Shocker was always a B-list character for me, but I loved him over Electro. And Michael Keaton as Vulture. Come on. Batman, Birdman, and now Vulture. This guy's got some serious flight issues.
Oh, God. All right. Let's get into Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, I mean, what's her name? Zendaya, supposedly MJ now. She was originally Michelle. Now she's possibly MJ. For me, I mean, I'm not saying the whole race issue or the whole fact of like just changing genders or anything like that. Like, okay, we're gonna make someone a woman or a male now, or change their.
It's
skin.
fine as long as she does the character right.
Yeah,
I mean, if she plays it off well
that.
and she researches the character, I'm sure she'll do just fine. Granted, she's not like the redhead, like what the.
I mean, maybe she dyes her hair
that's
red.
Okay.
Maybe she does.
If she
her
does,
hair,
cool.
yeah.
Like I mean, it's a new movie. It's different.
Yeah, I want to see how it plays out. I mean, was I upset? Like somewhat upset the moment it came out, like that rumor, or whether it is true or not. I don't know if that source is really trustworthy. but a little bit, yeah, because I mean, I grew up reading Spider-Man, man. I mean,
we all know that, Nick.
I know, I know, but so basically, for me, MJ was always the girl next door, like the redhead bombshell that like he always had a crush on, even though he met Gwen Stacy at the same time, supposedly in college, and fell in love with Gwen Stacy first. Like she was there to pick up the pieces for Peter, and like I just felt like so attached to the character that they can't change it. And so I mean I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I think Marvel's always good with casting. I think that they've rarely ever gone wrong with a casting choice. Mickey Rourke, but I mean, let's be real here. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. So I guess last little topic we have. What comic series are we currently reading or have read over the summer? What do we recommend? I mean, for me, let's be real here. I haven't bought comics in a while. I'm upset with myself over that. Let's not get into that. However, I've been reading the Spidey series, not Spider-Man, not Amazing Spider-Man or Ultimate or anything like that. Spidey is a new series where they brought him back to high school, and it's like modernized, and the guy the kid in the picture of Peter Parker, how they drew Peter Parker, looks a little bit like Tom Holland, so I thought that was a little hint to it. However, the suit is completely different as from the comics. From the movie, from Civil War. It has nothing to do with Civil War. They don't mention it, and I enjoy it. It's so off canon. It's not part of the Amazing Spider-Man. I really enjoy it. Plus, also DK3, The Dark Knight Returns 3. I have to catch up on that. I think I have up to book 4, and I think 5 is already out. So, but yeah, that's what I've been reading recently. I enjoy those. Definitely recommend those. What about you, man?
I've been reading lately. I've read Saga with my girlfriend. It's a really good. It's in by Image Comics. It's like about two people, Alana and Marco, and they're both from 2 different races, but their races are at war. And they're forbidden to be together, and they have a baby, and now they're on the run from all their people.
So kind of like a modernized Romeo and Juliet.
I mean, you could say that, but like it's like it's a little darker than that. It's like a twist on Romeo and Juliet, except they don't actually like kill each other out of love. They're trying to protect each other and protect their baby, Hazel, which is awesome because the story is told from Hazel's perspective, and she's actually doing most of the storytelling in that.
I'm definitely going to have to check this out. This sounds actually really interesting.
As far as like a DC comic, I would say to read Sinestro, New 52. Surprisingly to you guys, some people may not be like, oh, it's Sinestro. But check out the, I think it was the Sinestro. It was a one-shot comic. It was one of the cool like 3D villains covers. And I loved it. My God, like I fell in love with the character. His daughter was like a Yellow Lantern, and she went over to the Green Lantern side because she started hating her father. Oh. So imagine that swift kick in the butt.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out.
Something tells me that's a little shout out to someone. So we might as well say it. Shout out to our old station manager here, Christina. I know you're listening, so we're glad you're listening. And of course, Sinestro. Yes.
So anyway, that's funny. She's probably gonna be like, "Wow, guys, way to go! You're such cornballs." But yeah, a Marvel series that I recommend, I would say Hawkeye, the 2012. It was by Matt Fraction. It was so different because it's not what you'd expect from a superhero series, because it wasn't even an actual superhero series. It was like the day in the life of Clint Barton and what he goes through every day, what he deals with, how he gets himself stuck in really sticky situations. They introduced Kate Bishop, who's like an awesome female character that in that series, and she's actually, it's so funny because she's so sarcastic towards Hawkeye or Clint Barton, and it's great.
So do they mention like his deafness in it, like how that like counteracts?
They never mention
stuff?
His deafness.
Ooh.
It's pretty much that they show him as a normal person trying to live a life of a superhero, because they don't show him in the suit. Right. They show him with like a t-shirt with a purple arrow on it. It's
That's
like very
awesome.
simple.
That's actually really cool. And then I know you told me about this, Kevin Smith's Quiver. I need to read this now. Yeah, I need to read this.
He does a great job. I love that series alone.
That's on my to read list. So yeah, but
Phil Hester's art in that series is great. It really reminds you of the Justice League Unlimited comics, and it just flows so well. And Kevin Smith's writing is interesting and enjoyable, and I would definitely recommend it to everybody to read that. But I'd like to say thank you all for joining us. This has been Geek Week with Chris and Nick.
I'm Nick Rotundo.
Chris Natali. Be sure to check out our SoundCloud account. It's soundcloud.com/geekweek885. If you missed any part of the show or want to share it with your family and friends, again, go to that website.
And just in case you missed it the first time, we're talking a little bit fast, soundcloud.com/geekweek885. So be sure to tune in next week, 6 to 7, same time, to hear us talk about women and the representation in comic books and the treatment in the comic book fandom. So thank you again.
That was Geek Week with Chris and Nick. Be sure to tune in next week at 6 p.m.